Real estate developer Perry McPherson is also a flying hobbyist. Based out of Villeneuve Airport, he is a part owner of a restored 1965 de Havilland Beaver, owned for a time by an Air Force in Kenya, Africa.
His claim to fame for the de Havilland Beaver was that it opened up the northern Canada back in the 40s and 50s and 60s when it was built. The airplanes were built from 1947 to 1967. There was 647 built, I believe, and this is number 1588 of that series.
As Perry McPherson says, this is one of the leading 2 or 3 examples of the de Havilland Beaver anywhere in the world.
It was imported into Canada, and then Vintage Wings of Canada down in Gatineau, Quebec, they ended up with the airplane, and they're the ones that put all the refurbishment into it. So what they do with their airplanes is they refurbish them to a very high standard, museum quality standard. There was many years spent refurbishing the airplane. Rivets, everything is, a lot of the skin is all new. Engine's been rebuilt, everything from the control cables, if they're worn at all or frayed, they get replaced, wheels, tires, and anything that needs replacing or refurbishing, it absolutely happens. Well, it's got a 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney radial engine, a 985 Junior Wasp in it, supercharged. It flies at about 100 knots with the floats on the bottom of it, and we can fly it with the full fuel about 5 hours before it's right out of gas.
So Perry and his partners enjoy low-altitude flying in this historic bush plane. They consider themselves stewards of this piece of aeronautics engineering.
This particular airplane, is on what we call amphibious floats, so it can land in the water, it can land on runways. That's one configuration. Another configuration is on wheels. When it's on wheels, you can also put it on skis in the wintertime. So it fulfills a number of roles, and that's one of the reasons it was so flexible in developing the North. We'll take it on fishing trips. One of the partners lives in BC part-time, so we'll take it out through the Shuswap and the Okanagan and up north, places like that. The controls feel lighter than the airplane is. At gross weight, the airplane's 5,600 pounds, and it's still controlled purely through cables and that sort of thing, so there's no additional help at all to move the control surfaces.
Just another example of how some enthusiasts invest time and money on pleasurable pastimes.
We truly, in our partnership, look at being stewards of a fine piece of Canadian history, and that's what we'll have it for as long as we're able to fly it, and then somebody else have the privilege and responsibility of looking after it from there.
For Go Edmonton, I'm Tim Dancy.